cloud. There we go. And welcome to another episode of More Than Therapy. Today, we bring back our all-time favorite guest, Sabriya Dobbins. Sabriya, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for having me again.
Well, we only brought you back because we have some concerns. Nah, just playing. But nah, for real, I really do have some concerns. But we're going to start off with this. Your agency that we spoke about on the last episode, and if you haven't seen it, please go back to the archives and look at Sabriya Dobbins' interview, one of the most amazing, vibrant interviews that we've ever had on the show. And not saying that the other interviews weren't good, but they all have their own energy to them. And this one had a different energy that still shines to this day.
Thank you.
But with that being said, the pandemic has did a karate chop.
Yes.
Unparalleled precedents, which definitely impacted what you do. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So imagine launching a mental empowerment, mental wellness retreat company a year ago and having fully booked a retreat to Kenya that was supposed to take place in July, and it absolutely be swiped away. That was my experience when this pandemic hit. My entire company, it felt like it was going to blow up in my face. It was the most emotional few months that I had ever gone through since launching Project Passport. So it definitely took a hit. All the mental wellness retreats that we had planned, Iceland, Bolivia, all that has been postponed until further notice because we don't know how things are going to change. But we have made some changes. And do you want me to talk about them a little bit? Where are we kind of going from here?
Well, before we go into the changes, I guess that was what we were talking about, because it changes. How have you adapted to this virtual world, to this social distancing world regarding your agency?
Yes. So when it first started, I'm not going to lie, I was about to just, take a break from everything. I had to actually take a hiatus because my mental health really was being impacted by everything. But during that 2-week hiatus, something changed. I don't know what it was. I guess it was just taking time away and opening my mind, but something ticked in my brain. And I decided that I wanted to figure out how could I bring the dynamic retreat activities that we do to people through the camera. So I was like, I already have these activities planned out. I already have these different concepts when it comes to self-care, stress, productivity. And I said, how can I bring that same energy and experience to people behind the camera? So this is when we decided to launch our virtual retreats, which has been amazing, much, much more amazing than we could have ever expected, to be honest with you.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. Tell me, how amazing, what's so amazing about a virtual retreat? Do you send aromatherapy kits to their house and they smell the plants and smell the beach? I mean, explain that to me. That's a good idea. I like that.
That actually is a good idea, believe it or not. And I actually have an aromatherapy kit coming in the mail. So that actually, that's a good one. So, the big thing I do is I utilize Zoom. So I make sure to use all the features that Zoom has to offer. So that means breakout groups, the polling feature. We actually send them virtual packets via email prior to the retreat. So they have, the diagrams and the charts that we're going to be working on. So they can actually print them out for themselves. Right. We really try to help people feel like they're part of a family. And I'm not going to lie, I just did a retreat this past weekend and it felt like a family. People were opening up about their life experiences. People were sharing some of their hardships, and we were actually working together to help bring some solutions to their lives as a team, as a group. Right. And these people did not know each other. Right. So I think bringing not only the virtual activities and things to the table, but also bringing my personality and bringing my authentic self has changed how we do virtual retreats. People think that you stare at a PowerPoint for hours and you want to hop off by, as soon as it ends. That is not how my retreats end. Most times I have to tell people it's over, you got to go, because it's that dynamic, and it's such a blast for all of us. And honestly, I think that people don't realize just how impactful taking things virtually can be if it's done right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm excited. But there was one thing that caught my eye, which caused my executive producer to want to bring you back to talk about. You changed the focus of who you serve. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes, yes. So that was actually something that occurred during my hiatus. So I went through like this. You ever seen the movies when it's like they go on this journey and expedition, eat, pray, love type stuff? That's how it felt,
Yeah.
even though it was just 2 weeks. It really felt like some kind of expedition. So I ended up, taking the time and really looking at my business and breaking it down from the core. Because, when everything had happened, I didn't know if we were going to be able to still stand. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know. So I had to break my business down piece by piece to figure out how can we truly remain authentic to who we are and talk to the people that we want to speak to. And I noticed that a lot of my business was by, really women were really drawn to the work I do. Women, I had women, reaching out to me saying, oh my gosh, thank you for, the one-on-one we had or the mini retreat that you did, because now I'm using this at my job with my staff. I'm using these concepts to get a new job now because now I feel more empowered. So I said, you know what? We need to go ahead and repivot our services to truly do more, because if we're focused to women, we can do even more for them because we know exactly what they want to hear, what they need to hear, and how we can serve them. And plus, I'm a woman, so that does help. But that's kind of what made me decide to go that route. And it's been amazing so far.
I see.
But let me put a big but in there. Like, it's a big but. So while most of our services are geared towards women, that does not hinder the virtual retreat aspect. So some of our virtual retreats and events that we do, especially the public ones we do in partnership with NAMI, those are open to all, because we do have men that do appreciate what we offer and that they do really love the services we do. So don't fret, we do have other options.
Okay, I thought when you said, it's a woman-focused agency now, that it was just like, we're fem.com. We don't deal with men anymore. It kind of felt like that. It just felt very boom in your face. I was like, I had plans to work with them. I felt so hurt.
No. And what we did is we tried to soften the blow, especially in our email. We kind of let people know, especially the men on there, saying there are still some events for you, because we have a lot of men on our email list too. So we let them know, of course, share this with the women in your life that you love, but just know that there are some events that we'll offer to men. So for example, when we have Around the World of Mental Health, which will hopefully happen, maybe early next year or so, that'll be open to the entire public. But, for a retreat to Kenya, that'll probably stay to women. So it just, the retreat.
Oh, I get it.
Person,
so retreats are like for lady
yes.
based. That way you don't have to worry about maybe the dynamics and the logistics of separating men and women, versus the trainings or conferences that you have locally, especially when you coordinate with other agencies like NAMI and moretherapy.org, that those are more open to the public, so they won't have such a woman theme.
Absolutely. So we're pretty flex. Like I said, our verbiage speaks to women a lot more, of course, but no, we don't want men to ever feel like that they cannot come to us. We have an open door and open hearts in all the work that we do. So don't worry, okay?
Okay.
No,
I guess I won't worry.
Look,
I have
silence.
some concerns. I would love to be able to say I had to have, right? I would love to be able to do something like where I can say, yeah, men only. But what I find, and maybe it's just my experience in the circles that I roll in, as men don't typically coordinate in such ways unless it's church-based. Like I always come to the circle and I'd be like, yo, we need to have a men's group where we bring in individuals from the community, and we have therapists basically talk to them about the issues that's impacting them, especially with these recent shootings and violence in our neighborhoods. And they're like, yeah, but then it never comes to fruition. It's almost like they live in small bubbles for the most part. And I just don't know what's so I just understand why we're so tight regarding it, instead of we don't want to unite. Like I see women all the time unite. I see these big, great women movements. But I rarely ever see movements that are comparable by men, even in the therapy circle, even in the human services circle, even in the medical circle. I don't see these things as much. But I definitely see them in church settings. a lot of people aren't into church settings like that for the most part, or they're not going to get what they need as it pertains to other aspects of domains in a church circle, as they seem to be hyper-focused on spirituality and God and what he can bring to you, not understanding that God is all, and therefore everything that connects to you is somewhat God, because it's universal.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a, you do have a point, and that really makes me think, I think that we won't ever forever, do the women only, because you're right. There is a space that really is needed for men. I think that, we are really missing that piece as a society. Absolutely agree. And I think that that is definitely something that we want to always keep heed of, because the work of my company, it's all about helping people feel in control of their lives and understand that they have a lot of control to drive their cars of their lives, and really helping people know they're entitled to joy. And it's so crazy to me that many people don't think they have a right to feel really happy and joyful about their lives every single day. Many people don't think that's even a possibility. So I think men and women alike do need what we have to bring to the world. And, it won't be a forever thing. I'm getting that feeling in my heart that it won't be a forever thing, because you're absolutely right. Absolutely.
All right. In the past, we talked about wellness. Well, with this pandemic, I'm pretty sure it's shifted your definition of what you've done for wellness. What do you do now to be well?
I spend a lot of time just thinking about how grateful I am of the little things. I got so caught up in the sauce, I like to call it. I got lost in the sauce of life because I was so worried about the next step every single day. Okay, great. I got a blog feature. Next thing. Okay, got this. That's how my life was. And it was like next networking event, next event, this and that. And it was like I couldn't even be happy for anything I did. And it always felt like I was behind. So now that I'm being forced to slow down, I'm just grateful for walking outside with the wind blowing in my face. And I'm thinking about the fact that, something great happened and I had a great feedback review from something, just simple things, just being in the moment in a way that I wasn't before. I think that we get in that autopilot sometimes and we forget that life is beautiful in itself. So just, I love to just sometimes just walk to the mailbox. I make that a whole journey. And that's something, just walking to the mailbox is a journey for me, So that's kind of just what I've been doing, during the pandemic, and really just getting lost in my work, getting lost in the creativity of it. I love what I do. I love designing retreats, creating new concepts. I have companies that reach out to me now that want me to lead virtual retreats for them. And so I'm working on doing those. And it's just been such a beautiful journey, and I'm enjoying just the process of it. I'm falling in love with the process.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you were able to, I guess we'll say, mutate. No, that's not the right word. Change the way you approach, your concept, your agency, and able to adapt. Because I feel a lot of people haven't been able to adapt or modify what they needed to do in order to accommodate this, for lack of a better word, new world order. Tripping up.
Yeah.
Man, drinking too much coffee this morning. It's hard
That's
to stay
a good way
up
to
these
put
days.
it. You're right. That's a good way to put it, though. The new world order. I mean, really, it is. I mean, I'm, I get a little frustrated, and that's just, it's just my honest truth. But I get a little frustrated when people say, I want to go back to before. I want to go back to normal. I mean, honestly, I think that we won't go back to normal. And I think that the faster that we get over that, we'll never have a true, same, exact normal as before. The sooner you get over that, and the sooner you focus on the beauty to arise from the new world because people in the past, they've been through this different new worlds, and they adapt, but it seems like we're becoming so selfish to the moments of the past that why can't we be so graciously open to the moments of the future? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's just me.
Oh, I can dig it. I find that the world is quiet. It's more still. And I think that gives me a sense of peace. The crazy thing is, while I see therapists and clinicians basically break down because of the pandemic, I see that it had very little effect on clients because they were already accustomed to a certain state of crisis, for lack of a better word. And it's an amazing place to be, where the foot is on the other foot. For me as a clinician, it gave me a greater appreciation of the client and their resiliency in this world, because while I see clinicians burning out right and left, I have yet to see any significant crises on my client caseload, with the exception of the stimulus checks, which caused an uptick of addiction behaviors.
Wow. It's interesting. That's super
Yeah,
interesting.
it's,
And I
it's
think as
crazy.
people, we are so resilient. I mean, we are so powerful. Our mind, someone said, I forgot who said it to me, but your mind is the best Apple computer there is. You know, we forget just how powerful we are. We're the ones that made the computers, our brains. And so
Right.
I think if we would just be willing to tap into that and just I've been I guess assigning hiatuses left and right to people, telling them to take some time, just you don't have to be moving every second of the day. Just
Right.
stop for 2 seconds, you know, and you'll be
Right.
surprised what the silence says to your spirit, what the
There you go.
silence says to you.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That's an excellent point. That's what I found. Before the pandemic, I was having an uptick of anxiety, and after the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic, don't even have to take my medication for it right now.
Wow, that's
I know
amazing.
it's amazing. It is amazing.
That's
To some
awesome.
degree, the depression symptoms alleviated. It's almost like a certain peace. I guess because the expectation of going was gone, and I was forced,
Yeah,
like you said, to sit down and be quiet and listen. Um,
yeah, I
it
like
allowed me
that.
to see what relationships was truly important to me and which ones I needed to let
Yes,
go. You know what I'm saying?
preach.
It
Yes,
let me understand what relationships I needed to work on and do better at, and which ones I didn't need to give any energy to at all. You know?
absolutely, absolutely. You know, and then you realize, you know, I've started to learn things about, you know, my value and what I bring to the world. You know, I've spent time with looking at what does Sabriya have
Hmm.
to bring to the world, and what, you know, what am I willing to take? What lane do I want to be in? And
Right.
through this pandemic, I've learned how to say no even more, because I've been able to
There you
niche
go.
down more to what is true to what I believe in. You know,
Right.
before this pandemic, I was like, yes, yes, every opportunity, don't turn any opportunities down. Yes, yes, figure it out. But now I'm like, whoa, before we talk, ma'am, let me go back and review what you do. And let me figure out if there's something that fits into our value system as a company. You know, I'm
Right.
able to step back and know if this is going to be my lane or if it's not. And if it's not, I'll kindly recommend people to other people, because, you know, my time is valuable and what I deliver is valuable, and it needs to be direction. And that was something that I've learned through this pandemic, and I'm grateful for, because had I kept doing what I was doing, I
Hmm.
honestly think I would have been on a path of destruction. No
There
matter
you
how
go.
successful Project Passport was, it wouldn't have been true to what I wanted it to be. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. All
Yeah,
right. Well, that's a
that's where I'm
lot.
at.
Well, thank you for updating us on Project Passport and the lane that you find yourself in regarding the future of such a great program, even though it's more
Yeah.
focused on women.
For now, I think.
So, what upcoming events or retreats or trainings or Zooms that you have coming up? What's on the menu?
Yeah, so I'm dabbled in a lot of things. So the first main thing we're doing is we're offering free mini retreats. So we have women that will book in to our structured mini retreats that we have on our website. So they'll be already set up. So that if it's a purpose retreat or it's productivity, we'll have women, you know, book into those freebie ones. So they're 30 minutes. They're great. They've been filling
Mm-hmm.
up every week. So they're eight slots each. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
doing them about every week or every other week. And they filled up every time so far. I think we have one open in all the way in June that has a couple of spots on it. So that one's going well. But we're also offering free mini taster retreats to companies. So companies have actually been reaching out to me, you know, slowly but surely, to
Mm-hmm.
see if they can implement wellness in their space. And so what I'll do is we'll offer them kind of a taster test for their
Mm-hmm.
team. And then if they like it, we'll have a package that they'll pay into for an hour or 2 hours worth of things based on what they need. So if they say we need some more work on motivation and productivity and stress management, then we'll put together a private proposal for that company, and I'll execute those activities with the team members. It's gone so well. I've had one company, they called me back 4 times to lead retreats. That's
Mm.
how much fun they're having as a team, and it's been great.
Right.
Um, and then another thing we're doing is we're offering, you know, different pro bono events with causes that mean a lot to me. So NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is very important to me. So I love doing freebie events with them. So I'll co-host things with them as well. And I love to provide events to, there's a homeless facility that we partner with. And so we'll provide freebie events to them. And
Mm-hmm.
it's very amazing to see them light up and for them to feel excited behind that camera. And I'm leading it with their children and the families.
There
So
you
it's
go.
great. It's wonderful, wonderful.
All
So yeah,
right.
that's pretty much the gist of what we're doing. And also we're helping people with their Zoom events. So some people are contracting me out here and there to help
Mm-hmm.
them facilitate their own wellness events. And so I've really pivoted in a beautiful way, I believe, honestly.
That's what's up. Tell people how to get in contact with Project Passport and how to follow your movement.
Yes, you can go to project-passport.com and we are ready and excited to talk to you. You can check out the tab that says Go Virtual and you can see what retreats we have coming up. Like I said, we're pretty booked out for many of them, but we do have a stress retreat. It's a pay-as-you-can model and it's on June 13th. And then
Mm-hmm.
also you can go to at Project Passport at Project Passport LLC on Facebook and on Instagram.
All right. All right. Any last words?
Take this time to do what you do for you. Don't let anybody determine how this time needs to be for your life. You don't have to let someone define how you execute this pandemic, but let it be something that you'll be proud of when you look back. Let it be something that you will be glad that you did. That's my biggest last piece of words I want to give to people.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, thank you today for offering your information regarding your updates on your company, Project Passport, and the movement that you're moving forward, even more focused, even more deliberate for 2020 and on, without the
Yes,
presence of
thank
men.
you. Well, when you say it like that, no, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful to be here again. And I love More Than Therapy. And I thank y'all for all you have done, especially when you did the collaboration with us with NAMI and you donated an amazing prize that people are so happy about. So thank you for all that you're doing with More Than Therapy.
Well, thank you. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the More Than Therapy podcast.